Right now, the trim panels on your car, the garden furniture on your patio, the plastic casing on your outdoor units, all of it has turned gray. Faded, chalky, oxidized. And somewhere, a professional detailer is waiting to charge you $200 to spray a product that costs him 4 cents per application. There is a single oil, one you can buy for under $8, that permanently restores any faded plastic back to deep factory black. The industry that profits from your ignorance has spent years making sure you never find out what it is. The villain in this story is not one company. It is an entire sector. The automotive detailing industry, the home restoration industry, the plastic treatment market. A collective worth over $40 billion globally, built almost entirely on selling you overpriced versions of something that already exists in your kitchen cabinet or your local hardware store. Homeowners in the United States spend an average of $360 per year on plastic restoration products. Car owners spend another $150 to $200 per detailing visit, with trim restoration as one of the most commonly upsold services. In the United Kingdom, the numbers tell the same story. Millions of pounds spent annually on branded sprays, wipes, and professional treatments, all solving a problem that costs almost nothing to fix permanently. You have been robbed. Not violently, not illegally, but systematically, quietly, and repeatedly. But that changes today. By the end of what you're about to hear, you will know exactly which oil restores faded plastic permanently, why it works at a chemical level that no spray-on product can replicate, where to find it for under $8, and the precise method for applying it so the result lasts not for weeks, but for years. And stay with me, because I will also show you the one mistake that causes this entire method to fail completely, and it is a mistake that almost everyone makes the first time. This story does not begin in a detailing shop. It begins in the 1970s, when polymer scientists working on industrial plastics first began documenting a phenomenon they called surface oxidation migration. What they found was this. The black color in most exterior plastics is not a dye painted on top. It is a pigment, carbon black, suspended throughout the entire material. When ultraviolet radiation from the sun strikes the surface of that plastic over months and years, it does not bleach the color out of the plastic. Instead, it degrades the polymer chains at the very surface layer, causing the top microns of material to become porous, brittle, and pale. The color is still there, buried beneath a thin layer of oxidized, dead polymer. What those researchers understood, and what the industry quietly buried, is that you do not need to restore the color. You only need to penetrate that dead surface layer and make it transparent again. Any oil with the right molecular weight and the right penetrating properties can do exactly that. By the mid-1980s, internal documents circulating among polymer chemists at several major automotive component manufacturers described this mechanism in precise detail. The solution was simple, inexpensive, and available, and it was never passed on to the consumer. Why would it be? Because a consumer who knows the $8 fix does not buy the $40 branded restore. They do not book the $200 detailing appointment. They do not replace the gray plastic furniture every 3 years. The industry had every financial reason to keep this mechanism invisible, and for 4 decades, it succeeded. Most people stop here. They hear, just use an oil, and they walk away thinking they understand. Don't. Because what I am about to show you next is the part that the restoration industry spent decades making absolutely certain you would never piece together. The specific reason why one particular oil works permanently while everything else fades back within weeks. The oil is linseed oil, specifically raw linseed oil, not the boiled variety used in woodworking, but the cold-pressed, unprocessed form available in most health food stores, farm supply shops, and online for between $5 and $9 per liter. And here is why it works when nothing else does, explained in terms that require no chemistry degree. Most spray-on plastic restorers are silicone-based. Silicone sits on the surface. It fills the pores of that oxidized layer temporarily, making the plastic look darker and shinier for a few weeks. Then it evaporates, washes away with rain, or degrades further under UV exposure and the gray comes back. Sometimes worse than before, raw linseed oil behaves in an entirely different way. Its molecules are small enough, at roughly 900 Daltons, to physically penetrate into the degraded polymer layer. Once inside, linseed oil undergoes a process called oxidation. It reacts with oxygen at a molecular level and crosslinks, meaning it polymerizes inside the plastic itself. It does not sit on the surface. It becomes part of the structure. The result is a restored surface that does not wash off, does not evaporate, and does not degrade under normal UV exposure for years. This is not a theory. This is the same principle used in industrial coatings, in traditional oil-based paints, and in protective wood finishes that last decades. It was hiding in plain sight the entire time. If you have watched this far and found yourself thinking, why has no one told me this before? Then you already understand why this channel exists. The people who keep watching, who keep sharing this information, are the ones who stopped trusting the label and started trusting the science. Stay with us. Now here's how you do this correctly, step by step. The first thing you need to do is clean the plastic surface thoroughly. This is not optional, and it is where most people fail before they even begin. Any dirt, grease, wax residue, or old silicone product sitting on that surface will act as a barrier and prevent the linseed oil from penetrating. Use isopropyl alcohol, 70% or higher, on a clean microfiber cloth and wipe the entire surface down. Do not use dish soap. Do not use all-purpose cleaner. Isopropyl alcohol leaves zero residue and strips away any silicone contamination from previous products. Allow the surface to dry completely, at least 10 minutes in open air. The second step is to apply the linseed oil, and the method matters enormously. Pour a small amount, no more than a teaspoon for a standard car door trim panel, onto a clean, lint-free cloth or a foam applicator pad. Work it into the plastic using firm, circular motions. You're not painting it on, you are driving it in. Spend at least 60 to 90 seconds per section working the oil into the surface. You will see the gray begin to disappear almost immediately as the oil penetrates the oxidized layer. The third step is to apply heat. This is the step that nobody talks about, and it is the single biggest difference between a result that lasts 3 months and a result that lasts 3 years. After applying the oil, use a heat gun on a low setting, or even a domestic hairdryer, and pass it over the treated surface from a distance of about 6 to 8 inches for 30 to 45 seconds. The heat accelerates the oxidation process, driving the oil deeper into the polymer and beginning the cross-linking reaction immediately rather than over days. The fourth step is to wipe away every trace of excess oil from the surface. Any oil sitting on top rather than inside the plastic will remain tacky, attract dust, and eventually go rancid. Use a dry microfiber cloth and buff firmly until the surface feels completely dry to the touch. Here is the warning, the critical mistake to avoid. Do not apply linseed oil in direct sunlight on a hot surface. The oil will begin to set before it penetrates, leaving a sticky residue that is genuinely difficult to remove. Work in shade, in a garage, or in the early morning when surfaces are cool. Before wrapping up, there's one more thing about this solution that almost nobody discusses, and it is the detail that makes this method truly remarkable. Raw linseed oil does not only restore the color. Because it physically integrates into the surface of the polymer, it also provides a measurable degree of UV protection going forward. The cross-linked oil layer absorbs ultraviolet radiation that would otherwise continue degrading the plastic beneath it. In practical terms, this means that plastic treated correctly with raw linseed oil does not just look better. It ages more slowly from the point of treatment onward. You're not just reversing damage, you're slowing down future damage at the same time. Consider what this looks like against what most people have experienced. A car bought in 2018 with deep black exterior trim. By 2021, the trim is visibly gray and chalky. A detailer is paid $220 to treat it using a branded restorer. The result is excellent for 6 weeks. By spring the following year, the gray has returned. Another appointment, another $180. Over 3 years, that one car has cost its owner over $600 in trim restoration alone. Now consider the same car, same trim, treated once with raw linseed oil using the method described here. Total material cost, under $2. Time investment, 45 minutes. Result, trim that remains visibly darker and more restored for 2 to 4 years before any reapplication is needed, at which point the entire process costs under $2 again. The garden furniture comparison is even more stark. Plastic outdoor chairs and tables replaced every 3 to 4 years at $40 to $80 each. A cost cycle that most homeowners accept as inevitable, can be maintained indefinitely for pennies. Before and after photographs of this treatment consistently show results indistinguishable from replacement. The plastic does not look treated. It looks new. What you now know is something the restoration industry has spent considerable effort keeping complicated. A single oil, under $8, applied correctly once, restores any faded black plastic and protects it for years. The science is not new. The method is not difficult. The only thing that was missing was the information, and now you have it. But here is what this discovery points toward and why you should stay with this. Faded plastic trim is only the beginning of a much larger conversation about polymer degradation in your home. The same oxidation mechanism that grayed your car trim is happening right now inside your plumbing, specifically in the plastic components that connect your water supply lines, your waste pipes, and your stopcock valves. And the failure mode those components are quietly heading toward costs homeowners not $200, but $2,000. The restoration industry and the plumbing industry are connected by the same suppressed science. And the fix, once again, is almost comically inexpensive. What is happening inside your pipes right now is something very few people understand, and that is exactly where this goes next.